Brooklyn Nets reaction. I'm going to start off by saying I'm not one of those Nets fans that thinks the sky's falling, the season's over. I'm more of a optimistic person when it comes to this team, and I think the outlook will be fine. It's tough because, there was no Kevin Durant last night. It was just James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and a bunch of guys who were not playing well, outside of like TLC, who had a nice game. But the night before, they go to double overtime. Colin Sexton put up the greatest overtime performance I think I've ever seen in my 14, 15 years of watching basketball. He put up like 15 points and missed like one shot. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, I was not happy to see that game, but the last time I talked to you guys was the Orlando game. The Nets played the Bucks right after that. They won that game 125-123, I believe it was, and that was a thriller. It was awesome. It was great to see James Harden and Kevin Durant close it out. Then Kyrie Irving comes back from the Cleveland game. And, we're excited for the big three. We're thinking, hey, it's the Cavaliers. This will be an easy win. And then, of course, the Nets did not play well the whole game. They got it close in the end, and they went to overtime. Now, the Nets should have won in overtime. I will say that because the Nets were up 3 with about like 13 seconds or so. And the Nets probably should have fouled. I wanted them to foul in the moment, but the Nets decided to play it out. Colin Sexton on the left wing makes a really highly contested 3 with Kyrie Irving's hand right in his face. He makes it. We go to or Kevin Durant gets the ball. I don't know if this was the game where Durant tried. No, I think that was the Bucks game. I forget what happened the next possession for the Nets. But anyway, they missed a shot. I guess they went to overtime, and basically Colin Sexton put up 15 in 5 minutes, and it was like it was over. So that was rough to see. And then last night the Nets played the Cavs once again, one of those back-to-back road games for us, and Taurean Prince is now looking like, Paul George out there. Not JaVale McGee. I'll talk about JaVale McGee later. Jared Allen was looking really good. I mean, I'm happy for Jared Allen. I love the guy, but, it sucks to see him playing super well against us while we're struggling to play any sort of defense out there. And the Nets have a lot of problems right now. I'm not going to kind of like sugarcoat it and act like everything is great, but I think by the time the playoffs come around, the Nets will be in a good position. But right now, as we sit here on January 23rd, it's like, yeah, the Nets have a lot of problems, and it's pretty obvious. Now, they can't play defense. That's number one. The defensive rotations suck, and DeAndre Jordan is underwhelming. I mean, DeAndre Jordan played very well in that Bucks game the other night, and that's the weird thing about the Nets. I mean, the Nets, I think I saw before, are 8-3 against teams that, like, I don't know what if it's like over 500 or playoff teams, whatever it is, but the Nets against teams that are not good are like 1-5 maybe. Like their record against teams that are not competitive sucks, and their team against good teams is good. Like it makes no sense. I guess they play up to their opponent, but still, I mean, the Nets have to come out every game with the same type of energy and intensity. They cannot just be like, all right, let's take this game off and we'll get this win based on our talent, because that's not how it goes. You still have to play at a high level and take care of the fundamentals and all those kind of things, and basically go by your game plan. You can't just go out there and say, yeah, we're playing the Cavs, we're playing the Grizzlies, we'll be fine. Like, that's not what's going to happen. These are professional athletes. I know the Nets have a ton of talent and, 3 of the best 7 players in basketball on their same team, but you can't win with just 3 people. Like, the Nets have to stick to their plan and play with a lot more energy and passion, even, because some guys look like they don't want to be out there. You know what I mean? Like, DeAndre Jordan looked very disinterested last night, to be honest with you. So between Jordan and who was it? Reggie Perry playing behind him. I like Reggie Perry. He's 20 years old. It's his first NBA season, obviously, and I think he has some potential. He has to work on some things on the offensive end and even the defensive end. He was visibly frustrated with the refs at some points, and even James Harden was visibly frustrated with him because he was not, I guess, switching on Jared Allen at some points, and Jared Allen scored like 6 straight points, and you can tell James Harden was letting him have it, which I guess is a good thing because you want accountability out there, but just to see these guys like bark at each other on the defensive end is not what you want to see, because you want these guys to get along, but I'm sure a lot of guys on the Nets are frustrated. And Kyrie Irving had this whole quote, I don't know if it was on Instagram or Twitter, I think it was Instagram, about it's a long journey, it's a long ride, just be with us and everything will be okay. And that's kind of the way I look at it. I do think everything for the Nets will be okay, but to see the way they played yesterday was just awful. And another guy that has to get his head out of his you-know-what is Landry Shamet. Now, Landry Shamet was good for the Sixers his rookie year. I think he was good when he went to the Clippers for that half a season or whatever it was. Took a bit of a step back last year and now has taken a major step back in year number, I think this is 4 for him. So it's been rough to see, and I do hope Shamet gets everything going soon because the Nets have to get something out of that guy. They don't have the depth that they used to. There's no more Karis LeVert. There's no more Spencer Dinwiddie playing the guard positions. It's now Landry Shamet should be one of your top guys off the bench. Like, that has to be a thing. And Landry Shamet has been playing awful this year. I don't have his numbers off the top of my head, but it'd be hard to imagine he's shooting anywhere near 40% from three, which is where we need him to be. He's probably not anywhere near that. So Landry Shamet should get better. I keep saying that, and I hope it's the case at some point, but it has not happened yet. He has to play a lot better. Even Joe Harris, the last couple games, has not been great. I think he's in a mini slump right now, but he'll be okay. I'm not too concerned about him. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot has been okay. He had a good game last night, I will say that, but for the most part, it's just been whatever for him. He has not been that great. Now, the Bruce Brown thing, this is one that, people are talking about, the Steve Nash hate the guy or whatever it is, because I think Bruce Brown last night started the game, stayed in for about 6-7 minutes, then got benched for a long time. It didn't come in until the second quarter with 3 minutes left. And people are like, does Steve Nash not like Bruce Brown? And I'll admit, Bruce Brown's not the perfect player, does not do much for you offensively. He's got a good little floater game and all that, but defensively, especially without Kevin Durant, was by far the Nets' best defender yesterday. So it's kind of weird that we see Bruce Brown not playing a lot, especially against Colin Sexton, who of course lit the Nets up for 42, I think, the other night. So it was weird to see him not out there. I know Bruce Brown's not the best player and all that, but Bruce Brown, I think, should be one of the key guys off the bench going forward because, as I said, he's one of the few guys that actually plays defense on this team. Who else is there? Jeff Green's been playing well. Can't complain about him. James Harden looks like he's a bit passive out there. I mean, he's not taking as many shots as I'd want him to. He's trying to get other guys involved, and sometimes it's resulting in turnovers. There are some points where he's making awesome passes. He had that really cool, between the legs bounce pass to Kyrie Irving, who went down the lane for a nice layup. So there are some good passes in there from James Harden, but I do wish he would kind of take over more offensively. He had some nice step-back threes, but he has to do it more often. DeAndre Jordan we talked about, Reggie Perry, Landry Shamet. Tyler Johnson didn't play till the very end, so he's not in the rotation right now. Same thing with Chioza. All right, so let's talk about the guy the Nets signed yesterday. I got the news yesterday around 3 o'clock or so. The Nets signed this guy named Norvel Pell. Is it Norvel Pell or Norvel? I think it's Norvel Pell, who was with the 76ers, I think, last season. He played against the Nets last year and looked pretty good in that game, had a couple nice blocks. I went back and watched some of his highlights, and honestly, if you've been a Nets fan for about the last 12, 13 years or so, he reminds me of a lot of that guy Sean Williams, Area 51, that Sean Williams that played for us from 2007 to 2009 or so. So he kind of reminds me of that guy, just an athletic big man who's lanky and can definitely be a rim protector and block shots. He does not offer much offensively, this Norvel Pell guy, but at least he will offer some type of defense down low. He'll be a poor man's Jared Allen, which is something we could use right now. So I don't expect much from the guy, but if he can be a decent backup center, I'll be fine with that. There's some free agents, of course. The Nets have, I think, a couple roster spots still open. There's some guys out there. The interesting ones to me are Dwayne Dedman, who's with the Hawks the last couple years. JaVale McGee can be a buyout candidate at some point. Kenneth Faried, a former Net, was talked about. I think Andre Roberson, the former Oklahoma City player who's been a good defender throughout his career, he's out there as well. The Nets can definitely use some more defense. So we'll see where they go with it, but I think the Nets, I trust Sean Marks to make the right signings here, but there are some pretty decent names out there where the Nets can fill in those last two spots, and hopefully those last two guys will be really big contributors for the Nets in the playoffs and things like that. So we'll find out, but so far it's been frustrating, I will say. I'm kind of taking that Aaron Rodgers approach. It's just relax, everything will be okay. I still look at this team and say we're a top 3 team in the East. I think it's top 2, maybe even the best. But yeah, so far things have not gone so well. But look at it. If we won that Cleveland game the first night, the double overtime game, and just lost the game yesterday without Kevin Durant, we'd be like, okay. I mean, it is what it is. The Nets took a night off here. It wasn't good. But, when you lose 2 in a row to a team like Cleveland, who, they're pretty good this year. They're one game above 500, but they're not the best. So people are rightfully concerned about that. And I think that the thing that really annoyed me about the Nets is their energy level. The Nets played just no defense yesterday, and it was we're too good for this. Why are we not even trying on defense? Why are we not rebounding? There was a sequence where the Cavaliers had 4 or 5 offensive rebounds in a row and it ended in a Andre Drummond dunk. And I know that the Nets are a bad matchup for Cleveland because I tweeted this yesterday to somebody. The matchup is basically DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Perry against Andre Drummond and Jared Allen. Obviously, one side and Cleveland's side is a lot better in that scenario. Now, I know that the NBA is more of a guards-driven league, but when you don't have any type of big man out here, it's like, how are we supposed to win? Like, we can't rebound. It's like we're playing Jeff Green, who's 6'8", at the 5, and I do love Jeff Green, but even that's like not good enough. So the Nets do go on to play the Heat the next 2 games. I think it's on tonight and Monday. I saw this tweet a couple hours ago that Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Avery Bradley, and Myers Leonard did not accompany the Heat on a road trip. This is according to Barry Jackson, whoever that is, but he said that they're not traveling for this road trip. They should be out tonight, of course, and even Monday. So if the Nets are playing this Heat team without some of their key players, especially Jimmy Butler, who's still their best, whether it's him or Bam Adebayo, you look at the Nets and say, yeah, they should probably win at least one of those games. I think they'll win 2, and hopefully getting Kevin Durant back tonight will help that. But, I look at that and say, definitely a blessing in disguise, and I hope it makes the game easier. But, you never know with the Nets. But even Steve Nash has to be better. I mean, everyone has to be better. There's no one right now in the Nets that's playing at an elite level. I will say it's great to see Kyrie Irving came back and scored, I think, 38 points in back-to-back games, I think it was. And it's great to see that, and Kyrie looks as great as ever, but at the same time, the Nets need defense. They need to be better with communicating on defense, know who, when they're switching and all those type of things. Like, it's just not good right now. So they have to be better. I'm not too concerned. I'm just waiting for this team to get it together. I think they will at some point, but hopefully the next few games or so, the Nets get on a bit of a roll here. I think the Nets, before this Cleveland series, won I want to take a look. I think they won a few games in a row. They won 1, 2, 3, 4. They beat Denver, New York, Orlando, Milwaukee, 4 in a row. And now it's like the sky is falling and the Nets suck. But I'm not there. I'm fine. I'm all good. I'm still excited for this team's future going forward. I think we'll be okay. But it's been a little disappointing based on the last 2 Cleveland games. But it is what it is. But leave in the comments your your concerns and your thoughts about the Nets so far. Will they be better? Will things get worse in your opinion? Who do you want them to sign in the buyout market or free agents and all those type of things? But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time.